Howdy-ho. This is a video response to Jay's new video, Fly on the Wall. If you could be a fly on the wall, which means you could, be somewhere and watch and hear what's going on without anybody seeing you. He gave a couple examples, which were pretty good examples. I think I would probably have three things I'd be interested in. One being more of the religious, because I'm a religious person. I would, of course, love to have been back in the time of the disciples, when Jesus was with the disciples. Of course, knowing what that was going to lead to thousands of years later and stuff would be very interesting to watch those events unfold. So that would be really cool for me. If you're going for more of a modern time era, one of them would have been to be around during the presidency of Abraham Lincoln. The Civil War is probably the most interesting piece of American history to me. I find that time era just very fascinating, and Lincoln being the president during that would be something I'd like to be there to see it all happen, and once again, we all know how the Civil War went and all those battles that were, pivotal moments and stuff. To just be around the decision making for that would be fascinating. It would just be interesting to see that. But I think my top thing that I would love to be around for was when somebody first made a radio transmission. Being a ham operator, I love radio. And, I used to like to listen to radio when I was a kid, shortwave, AM or FM, those would be really cool. But the first guy, because you can just imagine the size of the piece of equipment. With anything, when you first do it, it's always big. Computers used to be, the size of buildings. Now they're fit into your phone, basically. Radio was the same way. Old radio ham gear had tubes in it, just like the old radios, and it was big, it was heavy, it was, you couldn't just move it around so easily. The first person who had a long distance radio chat with somebody would be utterly fascinating to listen to for me. Just to be there when that first transmission, when they fired it up and they were like, okay, is it gonna work, and they key the microphone, or probably Morse code, but you know what I'm saying, that first form of communication. I actually think it would be more interesting for me to be there for the first voice communication, if I had to be more specific. Because one of the things I like about ham radio / CB occasionally is long distance DX contacts. Now you can computerize everything computerized now for ham radio, so it makes it a lot easier. But the old-fashioned tuning the dial and just listening to the static until you find a weak station and then really tuning it in is a fascinating part about ham radio that I don't think a lot of the younger ham radio operators appreciate as much. But that first time somebody made that long distance, many, many, many miles away, maybe even over a body of water or over a country or something, would be interesting, With anything, I think, though. I mean, if you're interested in planes, you'd want to be there when the Wright brothers flew planes. I mean, that would just be, I think, if people were to give you the thought, the thing that you're interested in, you would love to see the origin of it with anything. If you're into cars, you'd want to be there when Ford decided to build the Model T. I mean, you'd want to see the first one roll off the thing. So it's an interesting question that you posted, Jay, because most people, I think about that, but then they really think about what they want to be. You want to be the thing that interests you the most. If you're into computers, you want to be there when the first computer was there, the first time somebody did a dial-up. But for me, it would of course be back during the time of the disciples and Jesus. That would be interesting. Back during Abraham Lincoln's time as president during the Civil War would be utterly fascinating, and of course radio. Radio would truly be interesting. I would just love to see that old way of doing it, where it's just it was harder. I mean, now computers and stuff make it easier. You can filter things out. It makes it easier to hear stuff. But just to be there during those first, moments of actually transmitting on a long distance thing would be just fascinating. Another example would be telephones. People would love to see the first time the phone was used, So I think it's a good question, Jay, and I appreciate it. It kind of got me thinking a little bit about what would be interesting for me. So anytime you can think about something, it's a good thing. I appreciate you giving that a few days' worth of thinking. So thanks for sharing.